Do you want more range on the Onyx RCR? That's coming right up. Hey everyone, my name is Rick Cordero. Welcome to RunPlayBack, where we help you with video and tech tips to lead a more efficient and affordable lifestyle. Let's be creative and save money at the same time. Today we're going to check out ChiBatterySystems 72 volt 55 amp hour Rebel touring battery for the Onyx RCR. Previously we were using the stock 72 volt 23 amp hour battery. We'll talk about the range of the 72 volt Rebel touring and then test it out on the road. So let's get to it. Why would you want 72 volts and 55 amp hours on the Onyx RCR? Well, that means you get 3,960 watt hours with a range that's about 2.5 times the stock 23 amp hour battery. But of course, range can vary widely depending on how you like to ride. But generally, the larger the watt hours, the longer the range. Since range anxiety is a common problem with the Onyx RCR, the Rebel touring battery should be a perfect solution. And full disclosure, the 72 volt Rebel touring battery in this video is a pre-production model that was sent to us by ChiBatterySystems. We did not purchase it with our own money. We have not received any cash or other forms of compensation in exchange for this video. And nobody has had any pre-approval or conditions on the contents of this video before it was released. So let's see what's in the box. New package delivery, ChiBatterySystems. The charger. ChiBatterySystems. ChiBatterySystems. The charger. ChiBatterySystems. Got some ChiBattery stickers. This is the Rebel touring battery for the Onyx RCR. So let's talk about it. 3,960 watt hours, 72 volts, 55 amp hour.
Kettlebell.
Yeah, it's like a kettlebell.
Enjoy the pain.
Before we ride, let's talk about the specs. The battery is about 6¼ inches tall by 5 inches wide by 15 inches long with a weight of about 38 pounds. The pack uses high-capacity Samsung 50E cells with a 5,000 milliamp hour nominal capacity. It features 110 amps of real-world continuous discharge with the smart BMS bypass for top performance and heat reduction. The connections use the standard Onyx RCR Anderson power pull connector and XLR charging port. As far as the charger goes, we're using the ChiBatterySystems 72 volt Onyx RCR variable rapid charger. We love the option of full control to set up optimal charging scenarios for the Rebel touring. There's 5 charging modes, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 amps, along with charge targets of 80, 90, and 100%. Most lithium batteries are capable of a vastly improved cycle life if they're charged slowly and not fully charged to 100% saturation all the time. Other features on the Rebel touring include a handle for carrying or removing, a rubberized wrap, cell level fusing, and can be loaded from the top without any changes to the stock battery cover. The only minor modification required is gently bending the stock tray, which we'll get into later. Another thing to note is that this is a pre-production model. One side is a bit bumpy from the wire up. For the production model, ChiBatterySystems will be using a custom PCB, which will result in a smoother surface. So the big question is, should you go for the Rebel Max or the Rebel Touring for your Onyx RCR? If you're into tuning your controller, the Rebel Max is more capable in the power department as it uses Molicel 21700 P42A cells. It has 47 amp hours and 3,366 watt hours of capacity. It's also rated up to 385 amps of real-world continuous discharge, which is 4¼ times more power than the stock option. Our good friend John Angel will have a ton of real-world tests and content on the Rebel Max very soon. But what if you're like us and are fine with the stock controller settings, but think that the Onyx 23 amp hour battery is ridiculously low? Well, the Rebel Touring will give you the most range and better power than stock. Do you need all that range? That really depends on your personal preferences and variables like speed, terrain, and distance. So now that we've covered the specs, let's mount it to the Onyx RCR. Now, you do have to make a slight modification. I'll show you how it fits without the modification. So take the cover off. We have a couple of battery straps here. These are really, really helpful. Probably take this rubber mat off as well. So these sides on the battery tray, they just have to be opened up a little bit. We just need a little bit more clearance on the front and back. There's some people who cut this side off, but you don't actually have to do that. You could just bend the metal. So how do you put this thing in? This doesn't clear. It's close. It's close. Let's modify the tray. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a rubber mallet. You're just gonna gently hammer away at these sides over here.
Groovy.
Looks about even. Let's see if it fits. Boom. There you go.
You have done that yourself.
So the best part of the Rebel Touring is that you don't have to modify the battery cover. I know a lot of you have been asking, you know, will the stock battery cover fit? And the answer is yes, as you can see. So the only mod you have to do is a few gentle taps with the rubber mallet on the battery tray, and your stock battery will still fit in the tray. All right, so let's take this out on the road. So we're gonna do our range test with the ChiBatterySystems Rebel Touring. We'll get the average speed, elevation, that kind of thing.
Campana tin tin, campana tin tin, campana tin tin. Cuido. Campana tin tin, campana tin tin, campana tin tin. Bom bom bom.
Just took a little break. Not sure how many miles we went, so battery voltage is not even 50% yet. So this thing definitely has range. The only thing is that it's really cold out here in Michigan, maybe like 25 degrees. I had to stop every now and then just because these gloves aren't really thick. All right, let's keep riding. Just finished our test ride and it was really cold. We have 71.6 volts left on the battery. So 72 volts is about 50%. We're looking at probably like 46% left on the battery. And we went about 35 miles with an average speed of 27.6 miles per hour.
English, Doc.
Here. Let me illustrate.
All right, so we just got back home from the distance ride. It was super cold outside. Now let's look at the Strava app to get our stats. Distance was about 35 miles. Elevation gain was about 1,142 feet. Our moving time was about an hour and 15 minutes. And our average speed was about 28 miles per hour. Let's click View Analysis. If you look at the graph, it's pretty flat. Michigan is pretty flat state. And our max elevation was about 983 feet. So not a whole lot of inclines, which can affect the range on the battery. Our average speed was about 28 miles per hour, with our max speed about 53 miles per hour. A lot of spikes hovering around 40 miles per hour, that kind of thing. So those were the bursts of throttle that I was giving on sport mode. So I wasn't consistently at 30 miles per hour or under. Whenever there were long stretches of road, I definitely put more throttle into it. Since the road I was on was pretty open with not a lot of stop and go or street lights or stop signs, I thought it was perfect for trying to recreate how most people would ride this bike. So our moving time was an hour and 16 minutes. Let's say an hour and 15 minutes just to round it off. If you guys remember, our voltage was 71.6 volts when we stopped, which was roughly about 50% of the battery. If we round it off, right? 72 volts is about 50% of the battery. So theoretically, if you ride like the speeds I have here, between 30 and 50 miles per hour, you could get about 65 to 70 plus miles of range in about, you know, two and a half hours. Obviously, if you live in an area that has higher elevation and steeper hills, then that would bring the range down a little bit more. Even though I went, you know, 35 miles, it definitely felt like a long time. I could have went another hour and a half, but I just, you know, I really didn't want to go too far on a Sunday. So this was more than enough for us, especially where we live. And this might be the same for you. You know, if you need more than, you know, 60 to 70 miles of range without stopping, then you might be going really, really far, and it might be more appropriate to take a car. So I think this is more than enough. And just one more detail on the performance. I do think that the cells in the Rebel Touring felt much smoother and more continuous than the cells in the stock 23 amp hour battery. I think that might have to do with maybe the bypass BMS or something like that. It definitely felt smoother and more consistent with very little sag. So huge improvement across the board with this pack. Overall, we're really impressed with the quality of the 72 volt Rebel Touring for the Onyx RCR. ChiBatterySystems is an industry leader in the light electric vehicle world, and be sure to check out our video where we discuss their rapid growth, latest products, as well as getting a full tour of their facility. It's a really cool look at one of the best US-based PEV battery manufacturers out there. If you want to dive into more video and tech tips, click the links on the side, and remember to like and subscribe so we can help you find tech deals that fit your lifestyle. We'll see you guys in the next video.